In the summer of 2025, 16-year-old Emily Marie Thompson was walking home from her part-time job at a diner in her small town of Marion, Ohio. It was June 27th, a sweltering Saturday afternoon, and Emily was tired after a 6-hour shift of waiting tables. With only $5 in her pocket, her tips for the day, she was thinking about grabbing a soda from a gas station when she noticed a pickup truck parked on the side of Route 23. A handwritten sign taped to the truck's tailgate read, "Puppies for sale, $5." Emily, a junior in high school, had always loved animals. Her family's modest duplex didn't allow pets, but she volunteered at the local animal shelter when she could, cleaning cages and walking dogs. The sign caught her attention, and she crossed the road to take a closer look. In the truck's bed, under a makeshift tarp, were 3 German Shepherd puppies, no more than 8 weeks old, huddled together. They were thin, their fur matted, and one was noticeably weaker, its right front leg bent at an awkward angle, as if it had been injured and never properly treated. The man leaning against the truck, a wiry figure in his 40s named Carl Jenkins, barely looked up as Emily approached. "Want one?" he asked, his voice gruff. $5 each. "Take him off my hands." Emily's heart sank as she looked at the puppies. The 2 healthier ones wagged their tails weakly, but the injured one barely moved, its eyes half closed. "What's wrong with that one?" she asked, pointing to the limping pup. Carl shrugged. "Born wrong, I guess. Legs messed up. Nobody wants it. If it don't sell by tomorrow, I'm dropping it at the pound." Emily knew what that meant. The county shelter was overcrowded, and an injured puppy with little chance of adoption would likely be euthanized. She crouched down, reaching out to the injured pup. It lifted its head slightly, its brown eyes meeting hers. Something in that look tugged at her. She pulled the crumpled $5 bill from her pocket, her soda forgotten. "I'll take him," she said. Carl raised an eyebrow but took the money without question. "No refunds," he said, handing her the puppy. "Good luck with that one." Emily cradled the pup, its body warm but frail in her arms. She named him Rusty on the spot, after the reddish tint in his fur. She had no plan, no supplies, and no permission from her parents, but she couldn't leave him behind. Her mother, Susan, a single parent who worked as a nurse, was strict about their no-pet rule, but Emily hoped she could convince her to make an exception. When Emily got home, Susan was in the kitchen, preparing dinner. She took one look at Rusty and sighed. "Emily, we can't afford a dog. You know that." "He was only $5, Mom," Emily pleaded. "He's hurt. They were going to put him down. I couldn't just walk away." Susan softened at the sight of Rusty's limp leg and dull coat. She agreed to let him stay temporarily, but only if Emily paid for his care. Emily nodded, already calculating how many extra shifts she'd need at the diner. That evening, she set up a makeshift bed for Rusty using an old blanket in the corner of her room. He ate a small bowl of rice and chicken scraps, his appetite weak but present. Emily sat with him, stroking his head, promising to get him help. The next day, Emily took Rusty to the animal shelter where she volunteered. Dr. Rachel Patel, the shelter's veterinarian, examined him. "His leg's broken, likely from birth or early injury," Rachel said. "It healed wrong, which is why he limps. He's also malnourished and has fleas. He'll need x-rays, a splint, maybe surgery, and definitely proper food and meds." Emily's heart sank. The cost of treatment would be hundreds of dollars, far beyond her means. Rachel, seeing her distress, offered to treat Rusty at a discount, but Emily would still need to raise funds. She created a crowdfunding page, posting photos of Rusty and sharing his story on social media. She titled it "Save Rusty, a puppy who needs a chance." By the end of the week, donations from neighbors, classmates, and even strangers had raised $300. It wasn't enough for surgery, but it covered initial care, flea treatment, antibiotics, and a splint for Rusty's leg. Over the next few weeks, Rusty began to improve. His coat grew shinier, his energy returned, and he followed Emily everywhere, hobbling on his splinted leg. Emily worked extra shifts, saving every penny for his care. Susan, initially skeptical, warm to Rusty, especially when he curled up next to Emily while she did homework. The duplex felt less empty with him around. But Rusty's impact went beyond their home. One evening, Emily took him for a short walk, his leash loose as he limped beside her. They passed the park where Emily's younger brother, 10-year-old Noah, often played. Noah had autism and struggled with social interactions, often retreating into himself. He'd never shown interest in animals, but when he saw Rusty, something changed. He knelt down, cautiously reaching out. Rusty, sensing Noah's gentleness, licked his hand. For the first time in months, Noah smiled, a full, genuine smile. Emily watched, her throat tight, as Noah sat with Rusty for nearly an hour, talking softly to him. That moment marked a turning point. Noah, who rarely spoke at length, began opening up more, especially when Rusty was around. He'd tell Rusty about his day, his favorite video games, even his fears. Emily and Susan noticed Noah's meltdowns became less frequent, his confidence growing. A therapist at Noah's school suggested Rusty could serve as an emotional support animal, helping Noah navigate his challenges. Emily, overwhelmed with emotion, realized Rusty was giving her family something she hadn't expected: hope. Word of Rusty's story spread in Marion. The local newspaper ran a feature on Emily's efforts to save him, highlighting her crowdfunding campaign. Donations poured in, enough to cover surgery to reset Rusty's leg. Dr. Patel performed the procedure in mid-July, and Rusty spent weeks recovering, his leg in a cast. Emily cared for him tirelessly, waking up early to feed him, cleaning his cast, and taking him to follow-up appointments. By August, Rusty was walking better, his limp less pronounced. He'd grown into a lanky, loyal companion, his eyes bright with trust. One afternoon, as Emily walked Rusty near the park, a woman approached her. It was Linda Carter, a teacher at Emily's high school who had seen the newspaper article. "You're the girl who saved that dog," Linda said. "I'm starting a community service club at school. We'd love for you to join and share Rusty's story. You could inspire other kids." Emily hesitated. She was shy, more comfortable behind the scenes than in the spotlight. But Rusty nudged her hand, as if urging her on. She agreed, and in September, she spoke at the club's first meeting, Rusty at her side. She told the story of finding him, the $5 she spent, and how he'd changed her family, especially Noah. The students listened, some tearing up, others asking how they could help animals like Rusty. The club launched a pet adoption drive, partnering with the shelter to find homes for other dogs. Emily, once an overlooked teenager, became a quiet leader, her bond with Rusty giving her confidence she hadn't known she had. Rusty's influence didn't stop there. The shelter, inspired by Emily's efforts, started a program to train volunteers in basic veterinary care, with Emily as its first participant. She learned to give vaccinations, clean wounds, and recognize signs of illness, skills she hoped to use in college, where she now planned to study veterinary science. Noah, too, thrived, his connection with Rusty helping him build friendships at school. Susan, watching her children grow, credited Rusty with bringing their family closer. By October, Rusty was fully recovered, his legs strong enough for short runs in the park. Emily took him to the shelter's annual adoption event, where he was the unofficial mascot. Families stopped to pet him, asking Emily about his story. One man, a veteran named Tom Harris, shared that he'd adopted a dog after reading about Rusty, saying it helped with his PTSD. Emily listened, her eyes welling up, as she realized Rusty's impact had rippled beyond her family. The moment that left Emily in tears came unexpectedly. At the event, a local TV station interviewed her, and they aired a segment on Rusty's journey. That evening, Emily and Noah sat with Rusty on the couch, watching the broadcast. The reporter called Emily a hero for animals, showing clips of Rusty playing, his once weak frame now strong and lively. Noah leaned against Rusty, whispering, "You're my best friend." Emily, overwhelmed by how one $5 decision had transformed so many lives, let the tears fall. Rusty, sensing her emotion, rested his head on her lap, his eyes steady and warm. Emily's $5 had bought more than a dog. It had bought a bond, a purpose, and a reminder that even the smallest act of compassion could change everything. Rusty, the injured German Shepherd, had not only survived but had become a catalyst for love, healing, and community in a small Ohio town.